Hey guys, welcome to another video, and before we begin this one, congratulations, we have finally crossed the 100k mark on YouTube after 3 long years of hard work on this channel. I'm really proud to present that to you, and we are only going to be growing. Now, before we begin, a few things over here. This video is for you if you are hoping to stay in Canada permanently. You want to settle down in Canada, then this video is for you. Second, this video is for you if you have studied in Canada, or if you have plans to study in Canada, or if you're currently studying in Canada, because this is for people who will be applying to the Canadian Experience Class program, which is basically, the Express Entry program itself, but still it's a subclass of it. And you need to understand that this is for people who have at least 1 year of experience in Canada, or are going to have 1 year of experience in Canada later on, right? So please watch this video only if you qualify for one of these. And one more thing, even if you don't qualify and you're generally interested in a PNP or Express Entry program, we can help, and in the end of this video we're going to go over that bit as well. Now, the most important part about this Express Entry program, right, and how you can get your PR. And in this video, we're going to go over the step-by-step process. I'm going to actually show you how you can do it on your very own, right? You don't need to go ahead and consult someone for this. But of course, there's nothing wrong in taking help, but don't be so dependent on someone that you don't really know what they're doing with your process. Right? That's the important part. So it's very important that you understand this bit. Even if you're taking help from someone out there, just understand this process, because this is going to govern whether you are successful in your application or not. Okay, now it's going to be step by step. Every single step is going to be covered, so please forgive me if this video is a little bit longer, but let's begin right now, right off the bat. Before we begin, if you are a student, one thing to consider over here is I have 2 tips for you, and these 2 tips are so important that it can actually help you make sure that your chances of succeeding in that CEC draw are maximized. And that's what I am going to be hoping to give you in this video. So the first point over here is go for a master's program instead of a diploma. If you are someone who has already done their bachelor's and now you're going for a master's, right, and you're really confused whether you should go for a diploma or master's, diploma is going to be cheaper, short, but you should definitely go for a master's, and I have 2 reasons for it. Again, the number 1 reason is that you will get a much higher CRS score, and let me actually show you over here. If you just look at the screen, you have the comprehensive ranking system over here. They give you points based on your age, based on your degrees, and this part with the degrees, right, you can see over here, if you have a master's degree, you get straight away 135 points if you're single, and 126 points if you are married or with a spouse, right? And in case you are going for a diploma, then you can take a look at some of these. Basically, the maximum points you can get, even in such a scenario, even if you're going for a 2-year diploma, they are 98, right? So there's a massive difference over here. 37 points, it's a massive difference, and I strongly urge you, go for a master's degree if you still have the choice. If you have already gone for a diploma, that's damage already done. It's in the past. We're gonna move forward, and we're gonna try to do whatever we can to improve your application now. But for now, if you have to choose, go for a master's. If you have to choose between a bachelor's or master's also, like let's say that you've done a diploma in your country, you never did your bachelor's, then go for a bachelor's, right? So basically you understand the point, right? And of course, if you can go for a PhD, go for a PhD. That's even better, right? At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are doing everything possible to increase your CRS score. That is the most important bit. The second reason for a master's program and why you should go for it is, look, if you're confused between a diploma and master's, usually diplomas are shorter. And what that means is you do not get that 3-year work permit once you graduate, right? A lot of them don't even qualify for PGWP, and I don't really want to talk about that. That's a deeper topic. Again, I've done that in another video, but for now, go for a master's program, reputable university, and of course 2-year master's program generally. So that means you will get a 3-year work permit. That's the 2 major advantages, and how you can right off the bat start improving your applications for Canada PR. The second thing that I will advise you is to make your profile attractive. The employer should want to hire you, and the only way to do that is stand out from the crowd, stand out from all the people who are already studying in that area, already studying in that college. God forbid, if you're in an area like Ontario, you already know how many colleges and universities there are. Competition is neck to neck, and the only way to do that is go for additional certifications, do as many projects as you can, and of course network with people that are in the industry. Of course, go ahead, do internships with employers, and these can be prospective employers who can offer you a job later on. You never know who you're gonna meet, who will be able to help you out in your time of need later on. Right, with all of that out of the way, we are now going to begin with the actual video, we are gonna go ahead with the step-by-step thing, and I'm gonna explain the prerequisites first, and then I'm gonna show you exactly how it is done. All right, let's go. So the first thing over here, as you can see on the screen, we have express entry, and it usually consists of three major parts. Now the first one is FSWP. That's the Federal Skilled Worker Program. We have personally actually worked with applicants on this a lot, and these are usually people who haven't studied in Canada and are going to apply over there directly for a job or directly to immigrate to Canada. FSWP draws, however, have not been carried out since January 2021, and right now I'm making this video on 23rd of September, and you can understand that basically COVID has to do a lot with it, and the already, people who are already studying in Canada, they are the priority, so they have a lot to do with it. So FSWP, we haven't been doing them lately because again, the draws haven't been happening. Now coming to the portions with FSTP, we have done a couple of those also in the past, but we don't really do them a lot. They are for mostly blue collar jobs, and you can certainly look into that as well. Again, that's a topic for a separate video. For now, we're going to focus on the third kind of express entry stream, and that is the one that you guys are going to be applying through. That's the Canadian experience class. People who have studied and then worked in Canada. Don't worry if you haven't worked yet. I know that you're already studying, some of you, and some of you are, yet to go even study. But after you study, you're going to be working, right? That's the plan. So once you are working in Canada for at least 1 year, you are now eligible to apply for the Canadian PR, and this is the stream that you're going to be choosing, guys. There's also a different sort of a program, PNP program, that's separate from the express entry in general, and we are not going to be covering that in this video as well. Now, coming to the Canadian experience class, what are the three major things that you are going to be needing in your applications? Number one, like I said, you have to have Canadian work experience, full-time Canadian work experience, and that should be at least 30 hours per week, right? Full-time Canadian work experience. Now, the key is that this should be in skill levels 0, A, or B. Some people like to call it O, A, or B, whatever you like to call it, it's okay, but it should be in one of these skill levels. What is your skill level? How do you find that out? Let's find out. All right, so you're gonna go on to this NOC page, find your NOC page, use the National Occupation Classification. You can see the skill types 0, A, and B. These are the ones that I'm talking about in this video, of course, and we're going to be figuring out which one you qualify to be in. Now that's the most important question. For this video, I'm going to be assuming that you're someone who is a software engineer and has been working in Canada for over 1 year. Now, when you scroll down to the bottom of this page, you will see that there's a filter items button field actually, and you're just going to type in over here software engineer, right? You can basically type whatever you would like, whatever your designation is, wherever you're working. For now, software engineers and designers, the NOC code is 2173 and the skill type or level is A. That means you qualify. You qualify in this case, right? It has to be either 0, A, or B. If it's C or D, you do not qualify, unfortunately, and you're going to have to look at alternative routes. Okay, so that's the point number one, the major thing you need to know. That's your NOC number and whether you are in the skill type 0, A, or B. Point number two, the most important thing over here are your English language scores. No matter where you're from, for the most part, if you're watching this video, you're going to have to take either the IELTS or the CELPIP, or there's some other exams in general, but IELTS and CELPIP are the most common ones. Remember, if you have already taken the IELTS academic version to get to Canada in the first place to study, that does not count. You're going to have to take the IELTS general training version of the test. Please ensure that you are doing that because that is going to be critical in your application, in your CEC application. The third thing that is going to be of utmost importance to you are reference letters. And by reference letters, they're just not, sort of recommendation letters from your employer. They're going to be very different. Your employer has to basically list down the exact month, the date, when you started working with them, when you stopped working with them, what did you do during this duration in between, what were your responsibilities. And the key over here is that your responsibilities should be that of a software engineer in this case. See, in this case, because we're going to be applying, and of course you can change the word software engineer depending on whatever you're doing, but whatever you're doing, the job basically has to be, the responsibilities that the employer is going to be adding in those reference letters, they have to be very much in sync with what a typical software engineer would be doing in Canada. Okay, this has to be it, and this has to be done for both the employers that you've worked with in Canada and employers that you've worked with in your home country or any other part of the world in the last few years. So all of this has to be taken into account. If you haven't left your employer on a good term, then of course there are complications and there are ways to obviate that. Again, you can connect with me for that, but in general, I'm hoping that you have and you'll be able to get this reference letter from each of the employers that you work with. Right, there are some other requirements such as medical certificates, police certificates. Again, all these sorts of things. I'm not going to be getting into that in this video because this is really about the CEC and the application process. All of these things are in general things that you have to basically work on from the perspective of your home country, and the process can be a little bit different depending on your home country. For now, we're going to be showing you exactly what goes down when you go ahead and apply. Now, first things first, when you apply, what happens is that you get assigned a CRS score based on all of the factors: your age, your marital status, your work experience, your education, etc., etc., etc. All of these things are taken into account. Based on that, you get a CRS score accounted to you. Now, based on what your score is, and you can see the results of all of these recent nominations that have happened. September 15th, there was the last PNP, and the CRS score threshold was 732. Of course, for PNP programs, the threshold is going to be higher, but the Canadian experience class, it's going to be lower. Mostly somewhere around 450, 470, somewhere in between these, right? So you're going to be able to see these thresholds. It can go as low as 404 as well, as you can see, as it did in these cases. So you can basically use that and you can understand, okay, based on this, if I qualify, if my score is more than the threshold score for this week or for this fortnight, whatever you'd like to call it, whenever it happens, right, you will get an invitation to apply and you're going to be eligible to go ahead and apply. Of course, at that point of time, you're going to need a lot of documentation, but for the first part, you just need to be eligible to apply even. But before that, you have to go ahead on the CIC website and you have to make your account, right? Once you make your account, and I've actually made that for you right over here. Let me just continue the session right here. And once you make your account, right, it looks something like this. Of course, you can't see it right now because we just got logged out. Let me just fill that up quickly and try to log in. All right, we'll click continue. And you answer a security question, and that's when you will see this place. And over here, you won't have anything over here. I already started the application for you guys. I answered basic questions like my number of years I've worked in Canada, etc., etc. I answered more than one, and then I answered my date of birth, etc., etc. Like basic information. And really, to begin over here, you have to start with apply to come to Canada, and right here you will have the option of applying for express entry. I will not have this option. There's usually 3 buttons over here. I do not see this option, and there's a reason why. Because I already started it, like I said, right? Express entry, and you can just go ahead and continue it should you maybe have to leave it in between, right? And that's when you come to this form, and really it's a very basic form. All you have to mention are things like your personal details, your contact details. Then this part is important, your study and languages. Again, based on this, like I said, right, all of these things, based on these things, you're going to be ranked based on all of these things, and you'll have a CRS score of your own. If your CRS score is higher than the threshold, you'll get an ITA. That's an invitation to apply, and you'll be able to apply, right? So there's other things like basically what are your application details, right? If you are working with a representative, you can add their name over here. Work history, again, the most important part right over here, like I said, what kind of a work history you've had, how many employers, from which year to which year, right? For now, you can see the application profile details, for instance, where you finished high school, what are your languages, what are your test scores, all of these things have to be entered, right? Then there's your employer, occupation, what kind of occupations you've had in the past, right? You have to mention those, right? And what kind of an NOC code it had. Remember the NOC code we talked about? Let me actually show you right over here. These are the NOC codes right here. This is the one for software engineer, for instance. It can be different for your profession, of course, right? Now, based on that, right, and then if you have Canadian certification of qualification, some special professions require some special qualifications for Canada, depending on what you are and what you are doing, right? All of these can be selected again, and then there's intended work in Canada. What kind of work are you going to be doing, right? So all of these things, your research, your work experience, again, all of this is going to go into this form, and once you are done with it, you're going to be able to submit it, and once you submit it, you will basically be in the pool where they send out the ITAs, right? When they send out the ITAs, you go ahead and you move forward with the application if you are selected, right? So again, the whole process has been outlined for you over here. Again, please remember the tips and tricks that I've given you over here. If you want more help as well, you can do that. You can basically go onto my Instagram, shoot me a message. There's also a service. If you go onto the website biomgrad.com, to the service pages, you'll see the express entry help service. But in general, what I prefer is before you go ahead, take the service, connect with me and work with me, understand if your case and we are a good fit to work together, and of course if we are, you can work with us, right? In general, this process can be done all by yourself as well, and you probably don't need a lot of people to help you with this. But of course, if you still feel you need the help, we are here to help. All right, hopefully this process is pretty much clear to you as of now. If there's any questions, any doubts that you may have regarding this process, or any kind of help you may need, please go ahead, connect with me on my Instagram, and please don't forget to subscribe this channel, because it helps me create more videos like this for you, which I enjoy doing a lot. Thank you so much for 100k subscribers. I'll see you in the next one.